So Sandy, this is very troubling. If you've seen these trucks all over, no matter where you're at in the United States of America, you've seen the yellow trucking company. It's a 99-year-old company, Sandy. They're about to be 100 years old. But here's the thing that's just mind-boggling about what is happening with the yellow trucking company. And then I'm going to make a comment on something that I heard Tim Poole say tonight about this just before we went on the air. After a $700 million U.S. bailout, trucking firm is shutting down. Yellow, which received a pandemic loan, is winding down operations ahead of an unexpected bankruptcy filing. The closure of the company would mean the loss of 30,000 jobs. Now, you've seen these trucking companies all over the country.
Certainly everyone watching has seen this while they're on the road or out somewhere.
Yes.
But 30,000 workers, 12,000 trucks.
12,000 trucks.
12,000
Let that
trucks.
sink in. 12,000 trucks. Yellow, the beleaguered trucking company that received a $700 million pandemic loan from the federal government, notified staff on Friday that it's shutting down and laying off all employees at all of its locations. The move comes ahead of an unexpected bankruptcy filed by Yellow in the coming days. The closure of the company would mean the loss of 30,000 jobs, marked the end of a business that just 3 years ago was deemed so critical that the nation's supply chains that it warranted a federal bailout. Quote, the company is shutting down its regular operations on July 28, 2023, it told the New York Times. But I want to get down to this right here. It says that it's been locked into protracted labor negotiations with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, okay? We see the Teamsters in the news a lot lately. Over a new contract. But watch this. As of the end of March, Yellow's outstanding debt was $1.5 billion, including about $730 million that is owed to the federal government. But listen to this part. Yellow has paid approximately $66 million in interest on the loan, but it has only repaid $230 of the principal owed on the loan, which comes due next year.
That is astounding. We all know they front load loans with the interest.
Right.
But $238 of principal, is that what you said?
$230.
$230.
But wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, this is not to a bank. This is to our government. The government is calling a loan on a major trucking company when the government is in more debt than any company could ever imagine, all the companies combined.
Ridiculous, isn't it? Well, let's break this down and get into this a little further. So here's some things that I read. Some of their customers were Walmart and the Home Depot. So we can expect higher delivery prices that are going to be passed on to us, the consumers, as other companies, other firms try to handle these extra loads that obviously this company is not going to be hauling anymore. And also, I read in the same article, Teamsters were blocking plans. They said Teamsters were blocking plans to modernize the company, and then the unions had blamed them, the company, for decades of mismanagement for their problems.
Why does it say why they were blocking modernizing the trucking company?
No, it did not say. It did not go into that. But
listen to this heartbreaking part of the message there. We recommend that all Yellow employees who have personal belongings and tools at the terminals should take them home today. 99-year-old company.
Because they're going to be putting the locks on the doors,
putting
and the
locks
gates.
on the doors. So I go back to the wah and all that happened. It was just it's becoming more and more apparent every day.
Yes.
This was an elite money grab on multiple levels. I saw this week that a billionaire was created every day during the shutdown. A new billionaire. And
because of relief money.
Relief money, and because the industries that were selling certain things became billionaires. I'm telling you, if there was ever a time that the rich got richer and the poor got poorer, it was the pandemic.
I believe that. I believe that we are just now beginning to see companies that are going to be falling, that are going to go out of business, being taken over and so forth. This is what I find to be so sad. Obviously, 30,000 people are losing their job, and they had, what this article says, it leads you to believe they didn't have the employee did not have any warning or little warning.
Right.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, this is what I heard several people say that intelligence and people are leaking and saying is that this is all a part of Agenda 2030. Now, listen, hear me out, and we got a lot of ground to cover tonight, so that we ain't gonna stay here long. But I want you to know this is what I'm hearing is that the World Economic Forum, that whole group that's trying to push everything to Green Deal, is people don't realize how big the electric automatic driving trucking industry is.
Like is now or is becoming?
Is becoming and want to accelerate quickly. And I was watching, and like I said, I've said before, when I quote somebody, I'm not endorsing them. I'm not saying that I believe that they're godly or nothing like that. But I do get some news from people that are not necessarily on fire for God. And one of them is Tim Pool with Timcast, very popular talk show. And he was talking about Yellow shutting down. And this is what he said. He said what he is hearing is that this is all a part of the move towards automated trucking, that they are getting ready to just blast automated trucking overnight around the world.
So this is going to be very fast, faster than what we've even seen.
Faster than what we've seen. And he is saying in the next year or two, you're literally going to be driving down the interstate and look over as you're passing a truck. There's no driver.
There's no driver.
There's not a person in there watching the vehicle. There's no driver in the next year or two.
So not only is this self-driving, but it's also moving to electric.
It's all electric, and he said that he's already seen the prototypes. He's already seen how it's going to work. They self-charge. They self-drive. They know when they're about to go out of battery. They pull into a charging station. They stay there and charge. They pull back out on the road. They never have to sleep. They never have to negotiate for a contract. And our roads are about to be filled with driverless truckers.
Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, eventually, of people.
Eventually, yes.
Being replaced to automation?
Absolutely. Let's think about it. That's what they want. They want you to stay at home and not go out and burn.
We've been hearing this.
Yeah.
But I never thought that it would, if it ever were a reality, that it could be this quick.
It's coming quickly.
So if what you're saying is true, you're talking about infrastructure that's been being built.
Yes.
Charging stations.
Yes.
Manufacturing of vehicles that can actually do this.
Yes.
I'd be curious to know how many hours, how many miles a truck that size could be on the road and in operation.
But think about this. But just think about this point right here, and this is just my mind working. If you don't have to sleep, if you're not mandated to get off the road, even if your truck can only drive 4 hours and then it has to sit in a charging station, well, that's a human being that doesn't have to also be on the side of the road sleeping. So as soon as it gets charged, you're on the road at 3 a.m. Then you're off the road. Then you're on the road again at 10 a.m. And it's like it's 24 hours a day the truck can work. And that's what they're trying.
It is efficient in that sense.
It's sad. It's efficient, but it's sad.
Like you said, even if it has to stop 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane.
But
it's coming. This is the world that's coming. This is Agenda 2030.
We've had this thought, but to think we could, even if it was 2 years from now, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm telling you, even if it's 5 years from now, it's unbelievable.
It is.
But let's not forget, we are in the year 2023, and they have said they have 17 sustainable goals that must be in place by 2030, of which very few of them are in place right now. So everything is about to be expedited.
Before we move on, can we just touch on, we've talked about this certainly so many times, but the level of learning of AI.
Yeah.
The adaptability.
We're going to hit that big time tonight.
This is what's made this possible.
Yeah, it's exactly right. This is exactly what has made this possible. And AI will be involved in the trucking industry. It will be involved in the entire infrastructure of the supply chain. We got a report tonight, if we have time to get to it, that Walmart has already instituted and starting to roll out in stores across the country and around the world. Complete inventory now is being done by AI. Not, they started with them little robots that we saw every once in a while walking. Now they've inserted AI, and AI is now tracking everything that's happening in their stores, and they're beginning to roll it out. That's Walmart.
Well, I don't know how many of you have been to a Sam's Club in the last year and a half, but just trying to do my little shopping and supply runs, moving my cart through the store, and passing the mobile mopping service or the big machine that cleans the floor, that was kind of creepy the first couple of times, but now nobody thinks a thing about it. It's just
exactly. Yeah. They know exactly how to roll it out, drip, 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 drip. But the drip is turning into a pour.
Well, I talked to you several weeks ago about the freezers or the refrigerated storage in Walmart. How some stores were mounting cameras over every 6 or 8 foot sections.
Yep.
To do what? To monitor what?
Yeah,
a person, multiple people can't really sit and watch monitors, but AI could.
Absolutely. Well, we got more to cover. That's just the breaking news, and it's very sad. All those employees, it's so sad. And look, I believe God can do anything. Yes. I believe God can turn around anything. But here's just the big picture. Barring God just supernaturally coming down in America and changing, this is the sign of things to come.
And not just here.
Not just here, but around the world. Here. But here's the reality. While this is going on, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to go to major war activity.
Oh, my
goodness. And we saw the call up of the 3,000 troops, which is just the beginning. And by the way, I don't know if you saw this. I don't have the article to put up here today, but there was a Department of Defense document that was released today about military combat pay to U.S. soldiers in Ukraine. What?
I didn't see that.
I read it. It's an actual document. And the question has to be asked, why are we documenting combat pay for Americans in Ukraine when the only Americans in Ukraine you're supposed to be peacekeepers and advisors, but yet the document that came down from the DOD said combat pay. So that brings me to this right here, because this is what's going on, Sandy.
Yeah, let's hit it.
This Kremlin, the Kremlin in the USSR, I still call them that because because in their mind they never stopped being Russia. They never stopped being the Soviet Union. It fell, but the people in the Soviet Union had a plan to always stay the Soviet Union. So Kremlin threatens use of nuclear weapons. Let me tell you something. You may think that this is blowing smoke. We're talking about, this is a real war, and this is Putin we're talking about. Has threatened nuclear weapon retaliation for the drone strike that happened against Moscow skyscrapers this week. Putin allies warned that there is no other way out after attack on business district that closed Russian airspace and left one injured. Let me throw this other article up here, and then we'll comment on it. Russia takes dangerous turn in war with Ukraine. Zelensky warns war coming to Russia following drone attack.
And did this take place on Sunday?
I'm not sure on exact day that it took place.
I think right there under this headline, it says early Sunday.
Yeah, it says early Sunday morning. Russia Defense Ministry has branded an attempted terrorist attack by Kiev regime. And Medvedev, former Russian president and Putin ally, has warned that there is simply no other way out and said Kiev should, quote, pray to our warriors that they do not allow the global nuclear fire to flare up.
So it was 2 drones.
And here's some video of it.
Okay.
We'll just show this real quick.
I don't know if that plays very well.
It's probably not going to play. It's a screenshot.
So what got me was the comment from Zelensky.
Pray to our people?
No. It was about
Zelensky.
Retaliation.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't remember what he said. I thought, really? You're going to fly your drones right up in there and you're going to get all testy about it?
Well, he did. He did. He went right into the downtown business district with these are pictures of the skyscrapers in the business district of Kremlin. What do you think's going to happen?
Exactly.
What do you think's going to happen? Blow out the side of a skyscraper I'm no Putin fan, but look, let's listen to this. Russia has entered a dangerous new phase of its war against Ukraine since it exited the Black Sea grain deal earlier this month, weaponizing global food exports, stepping up attacks on Ukrainian ports and cities, and increasing a risk of spillover into NATO countries. Russia's escalation is unlikely to deter the United States and allies from following through on delivering F-16 fighter jets and long-range missiles to Ukraine in the coming months, which Moscow has repeatedly warned against. So basically what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is Russia is saying, you attacked us. I know that we went to war and attacked Ukraine. I understand that. But now, you've sent the drones into downtown where the civilians are. At the same time, you're getting F-16s. At the same time, you're getting cluster bombs. Don't forget, we have nuclear weapons, and that's what he's threatening right now.
Okay, so this is my question. We talk about so many things. I was just thinking, has he said that? I know it escalates.
About the nuclear
threatening,
weapons?
has he done a direct threat of nuclear before this one?
He's threatened the use of them before, but there's never been, always just reminding that you got it.
Okay.
But this is him saying, not only do we have them, I'm just telling you right now, you're on the verge of receiving them.
That's what I'm getting at, because you can parse your words and you can step it up a little here and there, but once you put a statement like that out, you can say it a couple of times, but it's going to lose its effectiveness. Next thing you're going to do is actually have to pull the trigger. Yeah. And so I would be careful if I were Zelensky.
16 Ukrainian UAVs were destroyed by air defense fire, the Russian Defense Ministry said. Another 9 Ukrainian drones were suppressed by means of electronic warfare and without reaching their target, crashed into the Black Sea. The first of 2 drones penetrating the Russians' capital, much vaunted air defenses, struck at 3:20 a.m. It hit a 50-story IQ quarter tower, part of a business district called Moscow City, that includes elite residential apartment and penthouses. Nobody was hurt. There was only minor damage to the facade of the 2 office buildings. But the attack reached the heart of Moscow, close to the White House headquarters of the Russian government. One of the buildings struck by the drone houses the Ministry of Economic Development and the Ministry of Industry and Trade. The Office of Ministry of Digital Development, Telecommunications, and Mass Media is also based there. Part of Putin's propaganda edifice.
I mean, let's think about this.
It almost sounds like those specific were targeted for that reason.
Right there in basically downtown Moscow?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
That's downtown Moscow.
To have as much restraint as he has had, and even up to this point, it's really, I don't even know what to think about it. That's a lot of restraint. It's a lot of restraint,
but there again, don't twist our words. We're not saying, we love you, Kremlin. No. We love you, Putin. You're showing so much restraint. No.
Standing, over here watching this unfold. That's a lot to say. Okay, well, you're just going to do that right there in downtown Moscow. So.
Yep. All right, moving on. So let's see what else is going on in the world. One more thing about Ukraine. This is an interesting thing here. I want to show you this. While Zelensky is,
out there saying they're winning the war and it's going so good, and
everybody that we follow, I'm not saying that they're all right, but everybody we follow says the war's almost over.
That it's not going well. What do they call it? This counter-offensive.
Yeah, it's not going the way.
Falling apart.
The spring offensive turns to the summer offensive, and it's not, other than the few successful drone attacks. This is a video here that was leaked. Ukrainian troops surrendering in mass, white flags on tanks. And from what we understand, this is happening in multiple locations. Hundreds of Ukrainian troops displaying white flags on their tanks and infantry vehicles surrendered in mass to Russia today. More and more common as troops would see with their own eyes that it's hopeless to continue fighting. I want you to just play this. It's a little quick video here.
So white flags, right?
Yeah. So you can see, you can see the soldiers marching in unison. They're all surrendering.
Right. See the flags flying.
Yep.
My goodness.
So, it's so easy to forget this is not a video game.
No.
This is not a movie. These are real people.
Real people, real lives.
Real lives, and they are...
A lot of people have died.
Yeah.
I wish we had the actual number.
I don't know if we would if we've even been given any accurate numbers on this war.
I doubt it.
It's all propaganda.
Look at those likes.
Yeah. Oh,
We're
yeah.
smashing tonight.
Oh, yeah. Y'all doing good. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
all those that are smashing that like button. Y'all are so awesome.
Loving it.
But yeah, that's the world we live in. We're in the world of war, and we're not through talking about war. But the Ukrainian war is about to. One of two things is about to happen, in my opinion. It's either going to the Ukrainian people are going to sort of turn on Zelensky, and Zelensky's going to have to admit it and say, we can't win this war, and there's going to negotiate some type of settlement to where the Ukrainian people can keep some of their sovereignty, and Russia's going to have some kind of overseeing presence and make it a territory or something like that. Or, in my opinion, it's going to go all in.
It does feel like we're about to turn a corner.
Yeah, major amount of people are going to die.
Which way will it go? Right.
Yeah, and I hate that. I hate that because here's the reality. It's so we live in a world now where everything is seen through a screen, just like tonight, and we forget that these are people. These are husbands, fathers. These are mothers. These are children. These are actual people whose lives are being lost
Even the ones
on both sides.
Are not entering into this physical war. They're probably suffering by some economic way, or maybe just living in total fear.
And here's the one last thing I'll say about Ukraine is, the narrative has been pushed. Ukraine is the greatest thing in the world. We've changed our flags to the Ukrainian flag. Look, the Ukrainian people, we're not talking, just like when we talk about China, we're not talking about the Chinese people. We're talking about the Chinese government. The Ukrainian government is one of the most corrupt governments in the world. Yeah. They are corrupt. Billions of the U.S. tax dollars and tax dollars of NATO and the EU and all this have been squandered. They have. Yeah. And so the reality is this. We have an evil, demonic communist regime in Russia fighting a very corrupt and even demonically inspired Ukrainian. And the reality is it's because the war machine is in the middle of it, and they're not happy unless they're fighting with somebody. Well, and I love our military, but these stupid wars, just to have a war just so you can keep funding the military equipment producers, has got to end. Wow. Okay? So, Sandy, while that's happening, what did we tell you? A few weeks ago, I did a show called We Are Going to War with China in 2024.
Yes.
I have people on the ground that have given me top secret, anonymous information.
Well, this story just kind of backs that up.
It does. Because what did we say on this show a few weeks ago? President Xi Jinping said, if you defend Taiwan, if you get involved in this, you are declaring war against us. Well, here we go.
Here we go.
Biden announces first weapons package to Taiwan. Do you not remember this is how it started with Ukraine? We started sending a weapons package to help Ukraine. We kept saying, we either help them fight them over there, or we're going to have to fight them over here. So we started sending military equipment to Ukraine. Now we're about to be in the war, and now...
While we're talking about that, before we get into this article, okay, yes, fight them over there, fight them over here. Let's remember that we talked about so many weeks ago, so many Asian, maybe even if you want to say Chinese, fighting-age men coming across the border.
Coming across the border.
We don't even know how many are in our country right now.
Yep.
We don't know if they've been trained to fight. We don't know why they're coming here.
Yeah, well... I saw in the comments, just briefly glanced over there, somebody asked about the bio lab that's found in California. We'll cover that in a minute.
Yes, and that young lady said it was actually in her
hometown. Yep. Yeah. Biden announces first weapons package to Taiwan worth $345 million. Here we go again. Last night, the Biden administration announced an historic move by announcing the first weapons package to the island nation of Taiwan, to help them bolster their defenses against an increasingly potential war in China. The package is reportedly worth $345 million. At the time of publishing, neither the White House nor the Department of Defense has published any official press release disclosing the edict and the specifics of the first real gift to Taiwan. There's been a lot of mixed messages from the U.S. over their support of Taiwan. China's ambitions to most likely invade Taiwan in March of last year, 1 month after the Russia-Ukraine war began. China continued to perform military exercises and demonstrations close to the shores of Taiwan, namely threatening the U.S. to mind its own business. In August of last year, after multiple assertive warnings for her not to go, former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi made a controversial trip to Taiwanese capital Taipei, offering assurance that the U.S. will come to their defense. This past September, a coalition of senators passed a bill that would provide $6.5 billion worth of military weaponry aid to Taiwan, plus an additional $2 billion line of credit. However, it seems that package has been dead since its passage did not go any further. Blah, blah, blah.
I know we're sending this, but $345 million, that's a drop. That's not even a drop in the bucket compared to what we've already sent Ukraine.
Yeah, but it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
I believe that.
I
do believe that.
We said on that show that we made about going to war with China, we said the largest movement of military assets in our lifetime. So what that tells me is they're sending money to Taiwan, but they are saying, hey, we're not sending you as much money as you think you need, but don't worry. We are surrounding all the islands with our own military stuff.
If, any of our viewers or if they know someone who will actually be able to see the physical movement of these assets, if they will notice something is different, that something's going on and raise questions whenever this is going to happen or begin.
Well, I mean, I've seen online people already posting why are all these ships and all this stuff leaving dock? Where are they going? I mean, there are also people are leaking things about seeing massive aircraft carriers and so forth going across the ocean in places that they're not normally there. So they're moving, and if they could do what they did with the wah and control the media and what the media is going to say, good and well that they're controlling the media right now.
That seems pretty likely.
Yeah. So Blinken, Blinken's a blinking. He's blinking in the side of what's in front of him. But so let's just touch on this real quick before we move off this, because I believe that this is a very serious subject, because this is a precursor to our young men, women, and men here in our country and in countries abroad are about to be in a multi-country, a multinational, a worldwide war, otherwise known as World War III. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. If you go to war with Russia and you go to war with China, you're in a world war. Because China and Russia are leading BRICS. They have their own axis of evil, if you want to call it that they're developing. Then you have the allies, and it's like full circle. And
we've talked about this, but I don't know if we've put it in this light. China is leading in the economic sense. I think they're out definitely ahead of Russia. And how close are the two of them when it comes to military armament? Russia has been a stronghold for a long time, but China, they're so innovative. They're so out in front of just about everything.
Yeah. Well, near the beginning of this year, the U.S. announced on 2 separate occasions that they would be sending troops to Taiwan to help train them in preparation for a war with China. The Taiwanese have been less hopeful that the U.S. will provide any real help. But I got news for you. We're providing more than just a little bit of real help. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here. I'm trying to sound the alarm that while all this stupidity that we're having to deal with, that's the narrative that deals with Hollywood and media and concerts and all this kind of stuff that we hear on our news, the real news is this country's economy is crashing while we are getting ready to go to war. I hope I'm wrong. Wrong.
It's not a good combination, that's for sure.
But that's where it's going.
While so many of our young men are not ready, they're not prepared to even enlist. I mean, we're not in a good position.
Yep. So this is what we saw somebody commenting on earlier today. Quote, I've never seen anything like this. This is from U.S. News and World Report. Mysterious Chinese biolab, not a biolab, a Chinese biolab discovered in a remote California city. These are pictures and images from what they found in a supposedly empty warehouse. Why would a biolab run by a shady Chinese company be operating in Reedley, California, in central how you say that? Joaquin Valley.
San Joaquin Valley.
What was supposed to be an empty building used only for storage was home to a black market type of lab testing facility. This is like something out of a movie.
It is.
The discovery was made after a local this is how they found it out. After a local code enforcement officer noticed a garden hose poking out of the back of the building.
That's your ingenuity for you right there.
Let's watch this little video here. All right, hold
Jennifer said, there it is.
Give me unmute him.
Terrifying.
Career. So this is, I think, a very unique situation.
A lab operating in Reedley has been shut down after an investigation found it was filled with hazardous materials, chemicals, and medical waste. The lab was discovered last year after a simple violation opened the door to something authorities say was much more disturbing. A facility operating unlicensed and unpermitted.
Action News reporter Brianna Willis joins us in the studio tonight with the timeline of the investigation and more on what authorities say they discovered inside. Brianna?
Margot Warren, the legal action started in March of this year when the Fresno County Department of Public Health worked with the city of Reedley to get a court-issued warrant to inspect a property in Reedley. Through the process, health officials say they found the company, Prestige Biotech and Universal Meditech, had refrigerators filled with chemicals, human blood, illegal COVID and pregnancy tests, and just under 1,000 mice.
What? Just under 1,000 mice, human blood, pregnancy tests, and COVID tests.
You're worried about mice? They have all kind of other stuff there.
But
all the mice were sick.
Month, all of those materials have been properly disposed of by health officials, and those I spoke with say this is something they've never seen before.
Oh.
It all started back.
Well, here's my question. You've never seen it before, but it's here, and it was discovered apparently last year, and we're just now hearing about it because the legal proceedings is happening. So what else is going on in our country? We just reported not long ago of the secret Chinese police departments operating in New York City under Chinese law, punishing people under Chinese law. And now we have a Chinese, where, by the way, I know I'm not supposed to say it, where this thing originated. So are those dudes coming across the border working in these things?
They need workers in the lab.
They found 900 genetically engineered mice, engineered to catch and carry wang, living in an inhumane condition. 773 of the mice had to be euthanized. God rest their soul. And officials found out another 178 mice might already be dead. This is an unusual situation. I've been in government for 25 years, never seen anything like it. Oh, my goodness. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention tested the substances and detected at least 20 potential infectious agents, including HIV, hepatitis, herpes. Agents also found, look at these pictures, thousands of package boxes, many with shipping labels from China. Look at this. Does this look healthy? Does this look sanitary? It says city officials spoke with this guy who has identified as the company president through emails, including in the court documents. And it says the officials were unable to get any California-based address from either company except for the Fresno location. The other addresses provided for identified authorization. So there's other addresses. They said this was simply a lucky find. The lab was discovered when they saw a garden hose attached to the building. The investigation into this illegal Chinese biolab must be handled at the highest level of law enforcement, determined to comprehend. What in the world, y'all? What in the world?
And you said this was actually discovered several months ago.
Several months ago, and they've been working on the legal part of it, and then it's just now in the news. So what I want to ask is how much more stuff was discovered a long time ago that we don't know about that's happening in our country? We got Chinese police departments operating in cities. You got Chinese biolabs with multiple infectious diseases, genetically engineered mice. Is not the genetically engineered animals how we got here?
We got our own Dr. Mingala, modern day Dr. Mingala.
My Lord,
or at least heading that way.
Unbelievable. In America.
Right
This is not that we saw these illegal things happening in China, that they were not being sanitary or whatever in China. No, this was in a city in California, in a warehouse that was not for sale, that was just deemed uninhabited. And think about all the people that drove by that on the way to work.
Exactly.
Went to school. The school buses drove by. It's just an old empty building out there.
Let's revisit the thought of what exactly were they going to do with the mice that lived?
Yeah. What? What were you going to do with those mice?
Ooh.
What? Why you got? Can I be real? Why you got herpes? Why you got all this other stuff? Why are you working on mice with HIV and wah and
Great question.
I don't get it. Why in the world?
Evil running rampant.
Well, at least it's summer. You can go outside and take in a few rays and just, get you a glass of sweet tea and enjoy the sun. Not in Phoenix.
Not in Phoenix.
Not in certain places around the world. Phoenix, the city of Phoenix, Arizona, has ordered refrigerated containers in anticipation. This is not
Serious.
funny.
No.
Of storing bodies following weeks of 110 plus degree highs. 10 large refrigerated containers capable of helping with morgue overflow were trucked to Phoenix this week as a precautionary measure for the city, according to multiple reports. Maricopa County, we've heard of them.
Yes.
One of the most populous counties in the United States with more than 4.5 million residents, brought the 8-foot by 20-foot refrigerated containers to a parking garage near the county medical examiner's office. According to CBS, the medical examiner's office has a standard capacity of 224 bodies and a surge capacity of 358. Capacities have both been reached, according to an NBC interview. Wow. Barry told NBC that no bodies are being stored in the containers as of yet, but that the intake surge has been worse than typical surges seen in July. Maricopa County has already recorded 25 heat-related deaths so far this year. Thanks to nearly a month worth of temperatures reaching over 110 degrees, Phoenix is likely to be the first major city in the country to reach an average monthly temperature higher than 100 degrees, average. Phoenix hit its last record daily at 118 actual degrees on Wednesday, putting the city's consecutive streak with temperatures higher than 110 to 26 days.
How are people
What
surviving in that? A streak?
Unbelievable. 26 days of higher than 110?
That's unbelievable.
I can't even fathom.
And I know you've probably heard that this will go down as the hottest July on record.
Ever.
My goodness.
Yep. Ever. Well, you know what we said would happen here, and this is exactly what the next story is that these are real things.
Yes.
Listen, we are not taking these things lightly.
No, this is a very real issue where they said 25 people have died this month. Or since the heat started, whatever.
Yeah.
And come on. That's just one city.
Yeah, that's just one city, right?
How many other cities are there? And how many may fall through the cracks that are not reported?
Right. And here's the thing. The reason I said that about we take this seriously is because I know some people might not know us and they might come on here and see us talking about this and think that we're just taking advantage so we can roll through the stories. No, we're just letting you know because some of you knew this, but most of you didn't know that 26 days straight.
I did not know that before we were reporting on this story. I mean, it's hot in Phoenix and a lot of areas in Arizona, but
now we're not going to do a show on the whole Green Deal and climate change and all that. But, that's the narrative. I've told you that climate change narrative is a religion. It is a church. That is the seedbed for the one world religion that's mentioned in the book of Revelation. It's going to be climate. That's why they call it Mother Earth. It's been the long game all along. But what I'm telling you is there's a lot more going on to the heat of this world than just people driving cars. There's stuff going on with the sun. There's stuff going on in the solar system that is affecting this climate, and they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about Planet X. They don't want to talk about the sun, all the things that are happening that Stan Dale tells us about all the time on this show and watches it on a daily basis. He goes and watches the sun every single day because he's trying to tell us, Mike from around the world, many others, trying to tell us that what is happening in the world is tied to activity on the sun in our solar system. Not to mention some other things here on this earth. But here's the thing. Here's why I want to remind you that it's a religion. Is because, and it's a narrative and is an open door for them to control.
It is.
When the wham hit us and went all around the world, and for 2.5, almost 3 years, everybody just gave up their freedoms. They said at the World Economic Forum, they said it and we covered it last August. We covered it. They said, the next shutdown will probably be tied to the climate. We have tested it and saw the shutdown works. So we're going to have a national emergency. People laughed.
Combined with these unending concerns about the power grid and power failures. Man, that sounds like something big in the works.
And you think about the World Economic Forum. Never let a
crisis go to waste.
Crisis go to waste. So when the heat's up and the whole world's setting records of temperature, lo and behold, President Biden, God bless his soul, Biden declares war against extreme heat in latest executive order issuing first ever heat hazard alert. As July comes to a close, the Biden administration announced recently that they will be introducing new policies, it's a fancy word for control, to protect, it's always for your good, to protect workers and communities from extreme heat because of climate change. We want the American people to know help is here. Oh, what's that thing you say about when help is on the way?
Hey, we're from the government, and we're here to help.
We're here to help. Yeah, that's exactly what we just read. We're from the government. We're here to help. Help is on the way. We're going to make it available to anyone who needs it. For the farm workers who have to harvest crop in the dead of night to avoid the high temperatures, or the farmers who risk losing everything they planted for the year, the construction worker who literally risk their lives working all day in blazing heat, and in some places don't even have the right to take a water break. That's outrageous. Even those places that are used to extreme heat, used to it, have never seen as hot as it is now for as long as it's been. For those who deny that we're in the midst of a climate crisis, can't deny the impact of extreme heat on Americans. And then, of course, the same day, the United Nations, a slew of new scathing warnings about climate change and the heat. Secretary General, you might have seen this clip, says that we have now left the era of climate warming. Antonio Guterres declares that we are now in the era of global boiling has arrived. And he went on to say things like children are going to be dead in the streets and all this kind of stuff. So what is this executive order? The executive order from the President of the United States has asked the Department of Labor to issue the first ever hazard alert for heat and announce new investments to protect communities. Can I help you interpret new investments? New taxes on the people so that they can put in different kinds of things to limit carbon output, all
like
this
those
kind of stuff.
15-minute cities.
Yeah, exactly. That we'll get to tonight. So basically using OSHA, and if you'll remember during the WAW, one of the ways that they enforced the WAW jab and enforced mask mandates and all of that was through OSHA. Remember that? Occupation Safety and Health Administration. Did I get it? I think I got close. And that's what OSHA's about. OSHA's about the protection of the workers. And they issued the mandates through OSHA because it was a hazard on the job site for someone else to not have the wah-wah. So they mandated it through OSHA. Well, what they're trying to do now is mandate climate change protocols that they can't get passed in Congress through OSHA to put the pressure on the businesses to go ahead and do it.
Well, we're pretty sure we're not going to like whatever these regulations or changes will end up being, but I am curious to see what they're proposing.
Yeah.
Or will propose.
Yeah, well, look at this part right here. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is investing up to $7 million from President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. How's that working? Have y'all felt the inflation reducing at all? I think the Inflation Reduction Act was actually an inflation act.
Are you feeling that relief at the pump? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Gas prices just went up at least 10 cents in the last couple of days here.
Yeah, just in 2 days, some of them even overnight. The Department of Interior is investing $152 million from President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law to expand water storage and enhance climate resilience in California. The list goes on and on. Today's announcements build on numerous actions that the Biden-Harris administration has taken to bolster heat response and resilience nationwide. Well, I feel so safe. Feel so
much
secure.
better about the situation, don't you?
I feel so good knowing that President Biden, Vice President
on the case.
is concerned about my heat. I feel so warm and fuzzy inside. I just feel like it's going to end well. It's going to end good, Sandy. I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of faith. Yeah. Well, where are they getting all these marching orders? You shall eat the bugs. Do you know where as I'm going right now? My name is Klaus Schwab. I am from the World Economic Forum.
You will own nothing.
You will own nothing.
And be happy.
And you will be so happy. You will rent everything. You will rent your food. Does that make sense? No. You shall not eat any meat. You shall eat the bugs. But here's the thing. You know what people think? I've heard people say, well, look, old Klaus is getting old. He's going to have to retire or he may have to go on. We know where he's headed. Okay, Jesus can forgive anybody. Okay,
right.
But I'm telling you, if he don't call on Jesus, I think we know where Klaus Schwab is headed.
I don't think he is aware or cares, but from our standpoint, it's not looking too great for him when he passes on.
It's not looking good. Somebody get to Klaus and win him to Jesus. Okay,
right. There still is hope, even for a man as evil as him.
But here's the news. Here's good news. He's going to retire one day. And he has already found his successor.
Well, is it anybody he knows?
It is somebody he knows.
Is it somebody kind of close to him?
Kind of close. And it will kill two birds. Kill two birds.
Let's
I shouldn't have said
killing birds.
Especially when you're talking about bird flu. But it will take care of two things at one time.
Okay.
One, he will have a successor. And two, it will empower women. Because Klaus Schwab pretty much has determined that his daughter will be his successor. So what do we know about his daughter? Probably not much, but we're going to start learning about her. Klaus Schwab's daughter says COVID was a precursor to the coming climate lockdowns. This is what I've been trying.
We finally get to see and hear from her for one of the first times, and this is the first thing she has to say.
First thing she has to say, I'm working on my own lockdown. I got my own lockdown. Was that good? What did that sound like? Oh, what do I sound like when I talk like this? I have a combination of many.
We're not even through the first hour yet.
Okay.
Can you please?
The daughter of World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab has declared that tyrannical restrictions during the wah-wah served as a precursor to coming climate lockdowns. According to Nicole Schwab, her name is Nicole. How sweet. COVID was, quote, a tremendous opportunity, like father, like daughter, to test how the public would comply with authoritarian measures that could be used to usher the WEF's Great Reset agenda. The WEF's promotion of the climate crisis narrative seems to, quote, create a change that is not incremental to position nature in the core of the economy, according to the younger Schwab. Nicole Schwab made the comments in a newly unearthed video that was recorded during a WEF panel discussion, look at the year, in 2020. Was that not the beginning of the lockdowns?
Yes.
Okay, so at the very beginning, before the whole world started getting sick of them, she was already saying, this is working good because this will help us when we shut down the planet.
Just
for
further
the climate.
evidence that they already had this all laid out in advance.
Go ahead. Elaborate.
Well, it sounds like a plan, right? It sounds like a lot of people knew some key elements of what was going to happen, how they would respond to it, and long-term goals.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Scary.
So the WEF lists Nicole Schwab as a, quote, member of the executive committee of the Globus organization and is the director of the platform to accelerate nature-based solutions. The panel discussion was filed in Yvonne, Switzerland, and the participants were discussing how the threat of an immediate emergency can be used to further advance other agendas of the Great Reset.
Never let a crisis go to waste, right?
Exactly. Keep in mind, this was in 2020. This COVID crisis has shown us, first of all, things can shift very rapidly when we put our minds to it and when we feel the immediate emergency to our livelihoods.
Oh, boy.
And I'll read one more sentence. And second, that clearly the system, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, that we had before is not sustainable. Does this sound like she's a chip off the block?
Yeah, very much so.
So I see a tremendous, I'm still quoting the daughter of Klaus Schwab. So I see a tremendous opportunity to really have the Great Reset and to use the huge flows of money, to use the increased levers that policymakers have today in a way that was not possible before, to create a change that is not incremental, but that we can look back and we can say, this is the moment where we really started. I've got chills right now.
I know.
To position nature at the core of the economy. Taking the point of view of businesses and economy and looking at where these opportunities to create jobs and regenerate nature. And there are plenty of opportunities, and this is again a mindset of actually innovation technology, and business growth can happen with a positive impact on nature, and kind of laying out some of these examples. Regenerative agriculture is, of course, a huge part of that as well.
This reference to nature, where you've got, our administration talking about green energy and conservation and all this, and she just making straight reference to nature in this speech.
Unbelievable.
But as we say so often, they're saying the quiet part out loud. And this was 3 years ago, but this is the first time we're really getting to see this. But truly, we're so late in the game, they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care that these things are coming out.
They don't care. Sandy, if you wanted to be even more alarmed, because that's alarming what she just said.
You said, I got chills myself.
I mean, that's more in-depth than her daddy's even said.
Yeah.
Openly.
Honestly.
But listen to what the article closes with. Schwab then continued by asserting younger people are far easier to brainwash with climate crisis narratives. Quote, and one of the key reflection points here is also around engaging youth. And for me, it's again, I come back to this shift in the mindset of the restoration generation. Can we conceive ourselves as humans? I mean, you talked about a new humanity. I think you mentioned it, right? Can we conceive ourselves as a restoration generation? I think that's where we need to go. There are trade-offs, but this is our chance and this is about risk and it's about resilience because the shocks are going to be even worse if we don't do it now. Daughter of Klaus Schwab, the creator of the narrative of the world. I just got to lean back and let you talk, baby. I'm speechless.
I don't even know what to say. So obviously the first part of what you said was in her speech. Was these last couple of paragraphs also part of her speech?
The same speech. That was the same speech in 2020 that's just now leaked.
This is crazy. So she's talking about the importance and the centrality of nature, but then goes on to say how easy it will be to use this climate crisis narrative to brainwash people.
In 2020, they were already talking about this is it. This is what we've been waiting for.
Oh, my goodness. I guess it's an assurity that she also attended the Young Global Leaders School with Justin Trudeau.
That was our bedtime
Macron.
stories at night. You know, our bedtime story. Daddy, tell me another way we can control humanity. Oh, gosh. Well,
Daddy, tell me another way we can get rid of those useless eaters.
Yes.
When did you say the Great Culling's going to begin, Daddy?
It's coming soon, but don't you worry. We shall still eat meat in this house, but they shall eat the bugs. But I will not make you eat the bugs.
Moving on.
My daughter.
Moving on.
It's the only thing I can say that sounds like him. The bugs.
Maybe we should just focus on being Larry.
Can I get a shirt? We've got all these shirts that we're making.
Eat the bugs?
Do we need a shirt saying, you shall eat the bugs?
No.
No, in the back of it say, no meat for you. We have to laugh to keep from crying.
That one we do for sure. That was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Somebody needs to seriously call her out.
Well, good thing is we got our money. It's still in the banks. I'm sorry. I don't even know how to transition.
What?
Banks are still closing.
Yes.
I'm not laughing at this.
Okay.
But these banks are still collapsing, Sandy. People are not even talking about this anymore.
No, they're not. Now, I did hear about this, and I think you're going to touch on the one that I heard yesterday when I was listening to one of the people that I follow.
You're talking about the bank that collapsed, right?
What's the name?
This one is, well, look, it says FDIC seizes control of fourth bank in 23 while Biden jokes about being impeached by the GOP. Tri-State Bank of Elkhart, Kansas has failed. And it says, according to FDIC news website, the Kansas Office of State Bank Commissioner seized the bank, which named the FDIC as receiver. The FDIC then worked with Dream First Bank, National Association of Syracuse, Kansas, to assume all deposits. So, you know, there was a time not long ago, as you see here earlier this year, First Republic, Silicon Bank, Valley Bank, Signature Bank failed, and they said that it's over. And then, of course, a fifth bank, Silvergate, voluntarily liquidated all of its cryptocurrency market, faltered earlier this year. So when we had the few weeks of the story of a few of the banks collapsing, and then everything's okay now.
Well,
banks are still failing.
When it started in March, they gave us a short list of others that were in trouble.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
Probably that one was on it, but there's another one, a different name. These last 2 weeks, at least one per week of a pretty good size have failed. So it's so much. You can't keep up with all of this. There's no way you can stay on top of it all. It's a lot. No.
So in this right here says March 31st, Heartland Tri-State Bank had approximately $139 million in total assets, $130 million total assets. So we're seeing that, like you said, it's just more and more named banks that are failing, and that's unfortunate because, yeah, the FDIC covers your money up to a certain amount, but some of the businesses do not get that kind of coverage, which spills down into the economy. So I just want to put that in there because.
And let's cover again. It's not just that banks are failing. The ones that are still doing pretty good, they're having to, make changes. Our bank is a strong bank.
Yes, it's a strong bank. It's one of the largest in the world.
Our bank branch in this city is closing.
Yeah.
So that's going to cause us to change the way we do certain things.
Yep.
They've made things a little easier over the years where you don't actually have to go to the bank to deposit a physical check. That's great. Well, sometimes you need to talk to someone at the bank.
Exactly. And now you got to go, and I know it's third world.
Go inside the bank building to do business.
Right. And I know it's first world problems that you got to drive to a couple of towns over.
It is first world, but guess what?
But it's
we
still
got
an
to
issue.
drive to the next, like you said, city over. And if there's more pressure on that bank, what do you want to bet they're going to start saying you have to have an appointment? Remember during COVID when the bank was locked down, you had to make an actual appointment to go in? Well, we had a situation. We needed to sit down with someone.
We got hacked.
We got hacked.
Yeah, we got hacked.
And needed to sit down with someone, and they had to, do some work for us to fix this.
And it was hours of planning the entire day around being able to stand at the door, wait for them to buzz you in, to go in. Everybody had the mask on. All this had to sit away from the guy, trying to talk to the guy. This is what's coming on a regular basis. And when you have less and less people showing up for work, you have people being replaced by AI. It's just a crazy world that we're living in, and what we're about to be living in is insane. And I want to quickly hit this. I'm not going to stay on this, but let me tell you something. This dude right here, he's going to stand before God. I hope he gets right before God. But this is the BlackRock CEO that is blamed. Many people have said BlackRock is what triggered the global energy crisis that we're talking about. In recent years, governments around the world have been pushing radical policies that have fueled the global energy crisis that has brought us to the place in the economy that we're in. It would be easy to assume that these decisions have triggered soaring energy prices are just plain incompetence. However, the global energy crisis conveniently falls into line with the long-planned strategy, not only of the World Economic Forum, but of Western corporate and political circles to dismantle industrial economies in the name of the globalist green agenda, the religion. Democrat President Joe Biden's administration and European Union insist the soaring energy costs are due to Vladimir Putin and Russia's military actions in Ukraine. How convenient. But this simply isn't true, and the situation has festered for years before Russia launched a military attack in January 2020. Here we are in 2020 again. On the eve of the economically and socially devastating COVID lockdowns, Larry Fink, the CEO of the world's largest investment fund, BlackRock, issued a letter to Wall Street colleagues and corporate CEOs of the future investment flows. In the document modified title, quote, A Fundamental Reshaping of Finance, Fink announced a radical departure from corporate investment. He declared that money would go green. At that time, BlackRock had some $7 trillion under its management. In his closely followed 2020 letter, Fink asserted that funds would be relocated, reallocated to green agenda investments.
My goodness, let's all get in lockstep with each other, right?
Think about these two dudes, Klaus Schwab and Larry Fink. In the near future, and sooner than most anticipate, there will be a significant reallocation of capital. Climate risk is investment risk. Every government company and shareholder must confront climate change. I want to read that line again. Climate risk is investment risk. So that's a fancy way of saying, ladies and gentlemen, to all my little investors that I got that I manage your stuff, we going to make some money on climate change.
Well, I noticed he didn't mention anything about the blowing up of the gas line in Russia as any kind of reasoning as why energy costs were so ridiculous, which if we think we have it bad here, and I've noticed obviously a market increase in my power bill, I would hate to be in Europe.
Yeah.
I would hate to be a business owner in Europe trying to pay for all the energy demands that come into your factory, into your business.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. And, the Nord pipeline, is what you're talking about? The Nord Stream pipeline.
Yes.
Now there's still great debate on who blew it up. And all the evidence is pointing towards us.
Exactly.
That we blew it up. There's a lot of intelligence coming out that the Americans were behind it. And whether that's true or not, I have no idea if it's true or not. But let me tell you, there's a lot of moving and shaking going on to orchestrate. Yes. I know that it gets old. I know that it's a mantra that you hear every week on this channel. But we can't help but remind you 2030 is coming. Is it not ironic that every news article that you read about, that the people that have lined up with this agenda, somehow by 2030, we want to do this by 2030, keeps coming up? Ladies and gentlemen, if we're still here in 2030 and Jesus hadn't come back, what is 2030 going to look like?
Ooh, it looks more grim every week.
It does.
To be honest with you.
Every week.
Certainly population reduction has to play into their plan. Now, they haven't said, if they're saying that, they're not saying it very loudly. Not very many people are saying it. But come on, that has to be a part of their plan.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about, if time permits, and I think it will, we're going to get to the 15-minute cities and so forth.
Oh, yay.
But you were talking about, I hate to be people in Europe. Well, think about if you wanted to travel to Europe. This is coming down now, and I've seen several news sites say this. Say goodbye to permissionless travel. Americans will need a visa. A visa. Now, you understand there's a difference between a passport and a visa. A passport is your identity that's global. A visa is the company giving you permission. The country giving you permission to come in for a specific reason, and they put a timeline on how long you can stay under that visa, and they'll stamp it. Like I've gone into Africa, I've gone into many countries on missions trips, and they'll ask me, how long are you going to be here? And we'll say, we're going to be here 10 days, 14 days. No, they'll stamp it like for a 21-day visa. That means for 21 days I can be there, but on that 22nd day, I've got to reapply for permission to stay in that country. Well, now, up until 2024, coming up next year, Americans have not had to have a visa going into Europe. But
more money, more regulations.
Exactly.
Coming up.
More control. So meanwhile, Europeans who have been to Cuba are discovering they can't come to the United States because of terrorism. Okay. Once upon a time, citizens of the United States could travel to almost every country in the European Union for 90 days without asking any government for permission beyond showing a passport at the initial point of entry. It was and still is for a few waning months, a marvelous under-acknowledged achievement for liberty. Alas, the days of frictionless travel will soon be a memory. Starting at a so far unspecified date in early 2024, Americans and residents of 62 other countries that currently enjoy visa-free visitation to the places of the EU will need to pay a fee and submit an online application, including, listen to this, biometric information, work experience, medical conditions, and the initial itinerary. Then pass a criminal security background check before enjoying the croissant in Gay Paris.
No, I want my baguette now.
The criminally named European Travel Information and Authorization. Authorization. That S threw me off because we use a Z. Yeah. Is projected to cost €7 per application, take up to 14 days to render a decision. So look at this. It looks like an article that's just about you got to get a visa to go to see Europe. But in order to get the visa, you got to submit biometric information, which means scans of eyes,
They're
fingerprints.
already doing that with that stupid orb, and they get money to boot if they do it.
Exactly.
It reminds me of COVID. Come in to get your $20 voucher.
Yeah.
Or your, what were some of the, $100.
Oh, free food, Apple Music, Apple TV, free month on Amazon Prime, get the jab.
What were they getting? 20 euro? What were they getting to look into the orb and create their ID?
They get a coin a day for several days, the new world coin. You get your eyes scanning the orb, you get a gold, you get a world coin a day for several days. For I don't know how many days.
I don't know how many people saw it, but the first day or two that came out, Steve Quayle said, "Look at this clip of the movie Independence Day, the second Independence Day, I think in 2016. Look at the uncanny resemblance to this thing in the movie to the orb."
Yeah. More and more movies are starting to become almost documentaries.
Well, we're understanding now they truly were predictive programming. So when it all just starts happening, you can just think back to all the movies you ever saw in your life.
Exactly. We need to go back and start watching movies as documentaries. But hey, go home and read a book, turn a light bulb on and read a book. Oh, wait a minute, you better have the right kind of light bulbs because as of tomorrow, is that right?
Yes.
Tomorrow.
August 1st.
If you're watching this live, Thomas Edison's invention of the incandescent light bulb is illegal in the United States of America and abroad in many countries. Banned. Gas stove ban coming next. Biden's Department of Energy plans to mete out, quote, the maximum civil penalty. Listen to the words here.
I know.
They're going... They have said, the Department of Energy said they will mete out the maximum civil penalty against any manufacturer who knowingly distributes an illicit light bulb.
We're going to lock you up.
We're going to lock you up. While everyone was yelling about gas stoves, and we were reporting on it.
Yes, we were one of them.
One of them. Little did we know that we forgot that
it was the shell game. We were distracting us for the moment.
We were upset about our gas stoves. And
we didn't know we were not going to have light bulbs.
We didn't realize that the incandescent light bulb is now gone. Now, I know back then, during Obama, it started mandating things, but this is not a mandate of certain wattages.
No.
This is gone.
Right.
This is gone.
And
this is done.
If you'll remember, during Obama administration, I went to the store and I just bought light bulbs like crazy.
She hit every dollar store known to man. My closet was full of light bulbs. We're still going through those light bulbs. Wait a minute. We have illegal contraband at our home right now. We still have some of them bulbs.
We do.
Oh, no, the government knows that I have incandescent light bulbs in my closet from the Obama administration.
Oh, hit me up. I'll hook you up.
Yeah. We'll put contact information in the description below. We got the good stuff, y'all. We got 60 watts.
Oh, this is so messed up.
We got the 60 watts.
I'm telling you, had you told us this even 5 years ago,
can you during this kind
we
of
would not have been able to believe all of this stuff that's
What would happen if we start selling them on the black market?
Well, you better hurry up while you can still move cash around. Because
True.
As soon as they get rid of the cash, you won't be yard selling. You won't be going to the lemonade stand. You won't be doing any of that stuff.
You'll be driving through your neighborhood late at night. You're going to see this car over here under a light bulb with the trunk open. And you'll be like, you slow down, look over and say, baby, roll the window, lock the door, lock the door. And you'll look over and somebody's selling light bulbs.
I want 260s.
Give it. How much you charging for a bag of 260s? It's lights out for the incandescent bulbs that people have known, changed, and singed their fingers on for 140
now, that
years.
part I did get sick of. But you learn.
You learn.
Just get a little washcloth.
Washcloth. The modern descendant of Thomas
Thank God
Edison.
for this story. We needed a laugh.
We needed a little. It's not funny, but it is. Most famous legacy, Thomas Edison, is set to formally meet its demise in the United States at the end of this month, despite years of efforts by Republicans to extend his lifespan. As of August 1st, the Energy Department will fully enforce new efficiency regulations that the old bulbs cannot meet, effectively prohibiting the retail sale. The end game for the old light bulbs came quietly, but earlier this year, lawmakers had mostly moved on to squabbling over gas stoves and other newer targets. The energy officials
We're soaring for
blessed
higher
their heart.
heights here.
With the Biden administration regime, it's what his words, not mine, jailing their opposition in mass. Okay, whatever.
So did we already say, or does the story say they're going to take them off the shelves and destroy them, or do we still have time to run out to the store?
Well, let's see. CFL bulbs, the alternative at the time, literally induced migraine headaches in otherwise healthy people when they broke.
There you go.
Hazmat team was needed to clean the mercury that they released.
Exactly.
It's true.
As we've talked about before on this show.
On this show. But let's see right here. It says the DOE completed this action last April, and full enforcement of the rule is set to begin August 1st. The transition away from the inefficient bulbs has been underway for more than a year. The fight may be settled, but the larger fight over energy efficiency standards is still looming. Of course, we're talking about the gas stoves and all these others. It says it's proposing new efficiency standards covering gas stoves as well as electric stoves and ovens. And we also talked about that they have also used that same rule to go after gas hot water heaters. And now the next thing is they're going after generators.
Yep.
Oh, man, somebody says they got an old 300 watt in their attic.
Jesus
Ooh,
freak.
but people may not find out where you live, man. You got gold up in that attic.
Oh, my
Jesus freak. You got gold up in that attic. A 300 watt, man, that's like, that's like the Loch Ness Monster, man. You can't, is it really real? Is the 300 watt bulb really real? If you have picture, if you don't have video and picture, Jesus freak, it's not valid.
It's like that unicorn, right?
It's like that unicorn. But staying on this, y'all stay with me because we got some awesome things to cover at the end on AI, man.
Oh, those poor Australians.
And listen, let me just throw this up here. Thank you to all our partners. If you click that join button down there and you partner with us $5 a month, can we just say thank you? Can we just give you a hand and just tell you how much we appreciate you?
Keeping us going here.
Keeping us going, partners. Thank you so much. Poor old Australia. My God. They go through so much. That what they went through the wham was unreal, y'all. But look what's happening now. Victoria, Australia now officially bans gas connections, not gas stoves, gas connections, which means what good is it to have a gas stove? If they can't ban the gas stove, they're going to ban the gas connection that puts gas in the stove.
So that knocks your stove, your hot water heater, and God only knows what else out.
Fireplace, gas heater. Okay, so for all new homes and public property, not by 2030, by 2024.
Months from now.
Australian province of Victoria has become the latest in the world to ban all gas hookups in new homes starting January 1st, 2024.
Oh, on January 1st.
January 1st on 2024. Instead, going completely electric. This includes all public and private buildings. All new public buildings such as schools, hospitals, police stations, and government-owned buildings that are yet to reach a design stage must all be all electric, effective immediately. Energy and Resource Minister claims an electric home would cost less than having a gas connection, and a search using electricity would also make heating a home and cooking more affordable for Victorians, blah, blah,
okay,
blah.
Okay, what does this say
blah,
about
blah.
This right here? Okay.
Oh, it's just their numbers. They're trying to throw out to say how much better it's going to be to be
JD
all
says
electric.
he's in Australia. My goodness.
JD, we're praying for you, man.
Okay, look at that.
You are all restaurants run by gas in Australia.
So what now, JD?
What? Let's throw that up there. I want everybody to see this, even in the replay, if you don't watch it. This is one of our followers here, JD. All restaurants run by gas in Australia. Goodbye to restaurants, Dan. Yeah, so what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They throw these things out, and they just let the restaurants, the businesses, the homes just be in the fallout. They don't care about what happens because that's what we're talking about. They don't care about the aftermath because they're going to be warm.
Yep.
They're going to eat meat. They're going to have anything they want. These that are throwing out these rules, they don't care about the lives that are going to be changed.
People that are going to suffer. Wow. I'll be honest with you. I really was not mentally and emotionally prepared for the impact of these news articles, even though I had seen a lot of the content, even just really processing a lot that I'd already read and seen. I don't know. This is a lot.
This is a lot.
This is a lot.
It is. You know, we're going to take a shower tonight, wash all this mess off of us, and do one of them cleansing prayers that we do.
Get that anointing oil. Please do a cleansing prayer over me.
We're going to do a cleansing prayer. Y'all better understand and learn what a cleansing prayer is. Because when people, they'll get junk will get off on you. And we're not trying to put junk on you with this show either.
No.
We're just trying to give you the big picture so that you know how to pray and you know how to prepare. We don't want you to be blindsided because the truth is, I think we all know on this show, you cannot believe the narrative of what you're being told on television. That's the bottom line. What you're being told by the mainstream media is not telling you the truth. That's the truth. Nothing but the truth. So help me God. But, you know, everything's electric. Yeah. Everything's battery. Good news. Battery fire at solar farm triggers shelter-in-place order. We're going to hit this one quick. A fire caused by lithium in northern New York State solar farm triggered a shelter-in-place order Thursday. Although the order has been lifted, the fire official said the solar farm fire will burn for days.
Yeah.
Did we not just report on a major solar farm that was destroyed by hail?
We did.
Now we see one destroyed by fire. But this is the answer to our future. Don't worry. Turn off everything gas. We got you covered with solar and wind. And all around the world, solar farms are being destroyed. Windmills are falling over, catching on fire, being struck by lightning.
I think between our shows we did while we were gone and today, we did not talk about the ship that had an electric vehicle catch on fire.
Tell them about that.
Yeah. I can't even remember all the details. One person died on the ship, and they said they didn't know when they would be able to extinguish the fire because, you know, when these batteries from these cars catch on fire, it takes so much water.
There's really no way to put it out. You can't put it out with water. It's electric fire.
You can't even put it out with water.
It's electric fire.
Even when it just takes so much time. And if you try to use water, it's just a waste of water.
Exactly. It's a waste of water. In fact, sometimes it'll make it blow up. Even more. So all they could do is just let the tanker burn. And it was because of an electric. When I've never been an Uber guy, but when I was in Orlando the last time, I did an Uber, first time ever, which was very good, man. Both my trips, I was able to pray for the guys. I don't even know if I even told you about all that.
No, I don't think you did.
One guy's going to buy my book. I talked to him, gave him my testimony. He almost started crying while he was driving. And but one of the guys was driving a Tesla. I'd never rode in a Tesla before.
Oh, wow.
And it was really cool, man.
By the way, felt so special.
I did, because I'm telling you, you ever rode in a Tesla? Dude, there's going to be a lot of wrecks with Teslas because they're going to be watching TV. There's a TV in that thing. That's the biggest screen I've ever seen in my life. And it was the whole dash was a TV. And he didn't get the driverless version. He said this is what's cool. I didn't know this about the Teslas. He said every Tesla is basically a driverless Tesla. You just have to pay for the software upgrade. And you have to pay monthly. And but he started telling me about the battery. And when he started weighing whether he's going to get one or not, and he said, so I called them and I asked him, how much would it cost to replace the battery? And how much would it cost to replace all this other stuff? So he said the battery alone was going to be like $27,000 or something.
I was about to say, about $30,000.
And so close to $30,000. And then he talked about the oil changes and all this. And in his mind, he weighed in the lifetime of a car, all the stuff that I have to do with spark plugs and all the stuff that I don't have to do anymore. What's the worst case scenario? I have to replace this battery for $30,000. And I was sitting back there going, dude, I don't even want to comment right now because that is not all you're going to have to deal with this thing right here. You know what he told me? He said he lives in Orlando, Florida. They don't even have a winter down there.
Yeah.
Okay. He said, but I will tell you that I am concerned for the people that are driving these up north because it dipped down and got a little chilly down here, and I noticed I got considerably less on my battery when it got a little cold down here. And I'm thinking, what about the people in North Dakota and Wisconsin and all these other places? What are they going to get?
Yep. There you go.
So that was my
I guess
little
they
Tesla
don't
story.
offer that information when you're shopping.
Right. But now,
at the
when
dealership.
you see this picture, y'all, this needs to be on a T-shirt. I need to get "You Eat the Bugs" on a T-shirt because I just had to throw this in here when I saw this. Look at that bug sandwich, y'all. That's a bug sandwich.
Oh, could you imagine
Oh,
having
God.
a few of those legs in your teeth?
Let them eat the bugs. Challenging the World Economic Forum's corporate-driven food reset. They are talking about a food reset. You heard Klaus Schwab's daughter talking about food and about the environment and the world.
And nature.
And nature.
Nature.
So look at this. This is a model that is being released, that's being leaked out about the World Economic Forum's model for a globalized agri-food model. And says it's built on the unjust trade policies. It is responsible for increasing rates of illness, nutrition deficient diets, narrowing of a range of food crops. But where I wanted to show you this, it's going to be a very quick thing, and I'm going to go to this next article. Founded on a partnership between the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, the UNFSS is, however, disproportionately influenced by corporate actors. According to a recent article on the Canary website, key multi-stakeholder initiatives in the 2023 summit included the WEF, names off all these other food organizations. I mean, it just goes on and look, there's Bayer, there's Tyson, there's PepsiCo, Nestle, Kellogg's, Coca-Cola. And it says it developed a strategic partnership with the United Nations that the World Economic Forum regards as key to achieving its vision of a great reset. One of the key elements of a great reset is the food transition. That's why you hear them talking about in those, remember those 8 things they put out there by 2030? One of those 8 things was you will eat less or no meat. Okay? That was in the 8 things, goals the World Economic Forum put out.
Was it Kissinger that had that famous statement, with food, you control people?
Yeah, if you control the food, you control the people.
There's a 2-part statement. The first part is something like with war, you control countries. With food, you control the people. We can look that up. I'm sure someone out there is very familiar with that, but they know about food.
Now look,
of course, you can control people with food.
Look at what the Z-Bugs people said at the end of this summit that was sponsored by the World Economic Forum, and Coca-Cola, all these others were there. It says the summit comprises a powerful alliance of global corporations, influential foundations, and rich countries that are attempting to capture the narrative of food systems transformation. These interests aim to secure greater corporate concentration and agribusiness leverage on public institutions. Now, when I read this, it says, freeze-dried beef for long-term storage and blah, 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 blah. When I read this, this is what I think about. I think about just recently how we covered corn that could communicate on a smartphone.
Smart corn.
And soybeans that can let you know when...
The phone home.
To even satellites, soybeans can emit transmitters to tell farmers need more water or bugs are attacking me.
They're sending out frequencies to talk to the satellite so they can get in touch with the farmer when they need something.
Exactly. So is this natural food or is this getting us ready for bugs? Is this getting us ready? Because you know what? We laugh about saying you shall eat the bugs. But what we are really saying, ladies and gentlemen, is they are saying, listen, we know you need protein. That's what it's about. They're saying there are protein in bugs. So we're going to take away beef. We're going to take away chicken. We're going to take away meat. But your body still has to have protein.
You got to get out there and work.
You
got to make money for us.
So how are we going to do it? We're going to do it through bugs.
Oh, boy.
Sandy, you're going to have to take over.
I can't deal with it.
You're going to have to take over. I can't keep reading these things. My mind is about to explode.
I know, but you need to embrace it because apparently you're going to be eating a bug burger soon in your future.
But we can rest assured that the Department of Defense, the Secretary of State, all these that are caring about our protection,
They're on the case, right?
they are worrying about the right things. Old Blinken's a blinking. What's old Blinken blinking about today? Old Blinken says this. Look at this headline. You want to tell me that climate change is not a religion?
He's gotten the memo as well.
President Joe Biden, Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, says nuclear war. Nuclear war. You remember that thing we were raised on in the 80s called the Cold War, that at any moment humanity could be mutually destroyed by nuclear war in a second?
Mutually assured destruction.
Nuclear war is no greater threat to humanity than climate change.
He's in lockstep as well. With
climate change,
with
Sandy.
Klaus and yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's a participant. He was at the World Economic Forum this previous year in Davos, getting his marching orders. So he is now equating climate change with nuclear
There's no greater
war.
threat to humanity.
Wow.
How many times do I have to say that?
There it is. You just read it. There is no greater threat
Oh,
to
he
humanity.
actually said
Look,
that.
that's what I'm saying. There it is. There
he
it
said
is.
those actual words.
You see it right there.
Oh, well, I need to start writing for him, right?
Yes. Democrat President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken
Get with me, Blinken.
has told foreign
I'll look you
media
up for your next speech.
she's available for the right price. Need to get out of debt. Told foreign media that nuclear war poses no greater threat to humanity than so-called climate change.
Oh, my God.
In an appearance on 60 Minutes Australia on Sunday, of all places, Blinken was asked whether Biden administration views nuclear war or climate change as the greater threat to humanity. Quote, well, you can't, I think, have a hierarchy, he replied. There are some things that are front and center, including potential conflict, but there's no doubt that climate represents an existential challenge to us all. So for us, this is the existential challenge of our times. Blinken added that, quote, doesn't mean that in the meantime there are not severe challenges to the international order, like Russia's aggression against Ukraine. Of course, you got to always Russia. But after July saw heat waves across the United States and Europe, the United Nations has called for, quote, accelerated action to reduce carbon emissions and fight this global crisis. Well, at least it's not 2030. It's now 2040 on this one. The proposed action includes a global end to coal by 2040. I want you to think about that statement.
Yeah.
No one really is thinking. They just read that and they forget how much coal is used in the world. Global end by coal. But did we not just report last week that intelligence on the ground says China has already amassed enough coal
For how many years?
for, I believe it was 6 years, to heat, if the whole world went to war and shut off any more coal coming in or manufactured or recovered from the ground in China, they have enough coal in storage right now to heat the entire nation of China for 6 years. But we're being told we have to stop producing anything from coal.
We need Standeo to finish his work on that device. We need that free energy.
Yes, we do.
Device.
Yes, we do.
Oh my goodness. So Kevin Lemoyne at the bottom is talking about the movie Soylent Green, which we're going to have to just go ahead and pull the trigger and watch that movie.
We're going to have to pull the trigger.
And I will say again, if he or anyone else remembers, that movie was made about 50 years ago, and
Charlton Heston.
It was about the year 2022.
Yep.
They were in the year.
Are you serious?
I believe the movie was about the year 2022.
What?
Yeah.
Why have we never
Because it
watched
was
this
a
movie?
futuristic type movie. Well, for people who don't know what Soylent Green, it is a little off-putting, so you probably need to investigate that.
Well, we're not going to spoil alert.
No.
We know how it ends. We didn't
Well,
watch
we know what it's about. We don't know exactly how it ends, but
we know what he finds out. Yeah. Yeah, we need to watch it. But now here. If you needed another example that China is setting the model for the whole world to follow, we're talking about the social scoring system. We talk about the WAN came from there. We got all this kind of stuff that China is setting the standard. We're about to go to war with them, but we're also following their example. Now I want you to know that already in China, the 15-minute cities are already there. Now I want to show you something. I can't believe the government let this get out. The Chinese government let this get out. But China's 15-minute cities have one very diabolical design feature. Look at this. And I'm going to show you something alarming that's happening in our own country and in a state that blows my mind that this is happening, and they're asking for it. But China's 15-minute cities have cleverly diabolical design features. These cities accommodate tens of thousands of people with these expansive areas, yet they only offer a couple of exit points where everyone must scan their QR code for entry and exit. These are already in China. The clever and diabolical part is that this enables governments to not only closely monitor everyone, but it also gives authorities the ability to swiftly lock down massive groups of people with just a few simple moves. It's all very dystopian, but presented like an oasis. Now look at this video. This is what China's 15-minute cities look like. One neighborhood with hundreds of apartment buildings and tens of thousands of people have only a few exits where you need to scan your QR code and your WAN passport and your face to get in and out. So easy. Look at this. This is how you get in and out of a city. Sorry about the music. Probably hit there, China.
Standing with your social credit score, it just won't open.
It won't open.
And then an assistant will walk up and ask you to please leave.
Let's play this quick video again. I'll turn the music
Let's
up.
go back to your home.
Look, they're scanning their phone. They go up to the gate. They have to scan their phone, and they're given permission to go home. As you just said, if your social score doesn't match up correctly, then guess what? You don't get to go in. My goodness. But here's what's alarming.
Here's the really shocking.
Here's what's alarming.
Revelation.
Is don't be fooled into thinking this is just a China thing. 15-minute cities are already being planned in the United States. What is up with Florida? There's so much going on in Florida. They got malaria coming back by bioengineered mosquitoes were released in Florida. Now, and there's one other story I'm about to tell you about Florida is going to blow your mind, but watch this. This is in Florida. Listen to this video.
Life from where you shop to where you work, all within a 15-minute walk.
Sounds pretty nice, right? Cities around the country are already doing it. NBC2 meteorologist Lauren Hope finds out if during Ian recovery, it could be a reality here in Southwest Florida.
Ian recovery?
Southwest Florida's population is booming.
We have seen the population literally double in approximately 2 decades, which is unheard of for municipalities.
What used to be an appealing retirement destination is now attracting more young families, according to Fort Myers Public Information Officer
Fort Myers, Florida.
Donald Matthews.
Those that are looking to raise their kids in environments that are healthy, that have a lot of different options, they're coming here. And, we're excited about that.
City officials are working to keep up with the growth.
We have 91 different projects going on in the city right now. I would say probably a majority of those are housing, higher density.
Listen to this part here.
Type housing.
Fort Myers Director of Economic Development Stephen Weathers says the success of any city comes down to the success of its downtown.
So one of the things I've found in the cities I've worked in, what makes a downtown appealing is I don't have to go outside of the downtown for, say, a grocery store or for a gas station or for a dry cleaner.
Great
we
idea.
really want to make this the 15-minute city.
The 15-minute city is an urban planning concept where everyday necessities are.
I want to remind you, we're talking about Fort Myers, Florida. We're not talking about China.
Right.
Look at how they are selling this, how amazing this is, how the circular design. Do you remember not long ago we talked about they were experimenting in the UK? I can't remember the city that was in the UK, and it was going to be circular, and it was going to be like a pie shape, and there were going to be walls and gates, and permission was going to be they were experimenting. Now we're talking about Fort Myers, Florida.
Easily reachable within a 15-minute walk or a 15-minute bike ride. This concept can promote more green spaces, but it can also decrease carbon emissions.
Of course.
From an environmental standpoint, one of the biggest pieces is that if we're driving less, we're putting less carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, we're slowing the pace at which we're changing the climate that we have to live with.
Dr. Wynne Everham, a professor at the water school at FGCU, knows a thing or two about creating a usable space.
And I think most good 15-minute city approaches include a significant amount of green space.
Sure.
Within walking distance.
Makes sense.
Because we're finding out that that's really good for people.
So good for people.
Yeah, when you're about to lose it in your apartment, just go to the park and take your dog, right?
Take your dog. And
But you know who the first person that I know of to have a circular city concept? Walt Disney. Epcot.
Ding, 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 ding. What was he trying to tell us?
But he actually had a much smarter plan, to be honest with you, if you study it. Yep. What was it? Experimental prototype city of tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe someone know what.
Tomorrowland? Was that your about?
Epcot.
Epcot, yeah.
At Disney.
We've been to Epcot. It was pretty cool design.
Epcot stands for something like experimental prototype city something. But anyway, he had all the delivery vehicles. He had 2 or 3 levels of transportation. Deliveries would be on the bottom, public transportation, I think, above it. And then people who would drive cars, I think, maybe would be above it. And you would have green space, and it was pretty smart, but it reminds me of the 15-minute city on steroids.
Let's finish this video.
Recognize that as a municipality. So
what's this?
We're looking to see where it is that we can add more parks. We expect that by 2024, we will have a parks master plan.
Did you hear that? This is expedited, y'all. These are experimental cities all across our country that are getting ready. This is where this world is going. So by 2024, they have a experimental sampling to put before the local city council.
That will be able to show the community what it is that we're going to do and within
They're
what
so
time
proud of
period.
themselves.
There is a market value to building in a different way, that there is a lot of people who would like to have the 15-minute concept outside their door. They would like to be able to walk to the grocery store, take a bike to their doctor's office. Maybe there really are people who think, yeah, I need a 2-hour commute every day. I love that. I don't know who they are, but maybe they're out there. But we need more options.
And ditching the car.
We need more options. I like this comment right here. I want a dumb city. Me too, Aspen. I want a dumb city. All right, so believe it or not, Sandy, we got 8 minutes and we hit the 2-hour mark already. So we got a couple more things that we want to show you tonight. But I just thought that was alarming, that China is showing us what it's going to look like, and Fort Myers is saying, oh, this is going to be so amazing.
You're going to love it.
We are like sheep. We are just, you
mean being led to the slaughter?
Exactly. And everybody's always telling us when they sell it, it's for our good. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want to walk to their doctor? Then leave their doctor and walk to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Leave their grocery store and walk to the library, and then walk to the movie theater, and then walk back home. And guess what? You walked back home all within 15 minutes. Everything you needed was there.
Hopefully you didn't get mugged on the way.
No, because it's utopia, Sandy. Nobody's going to want to steal. Why would you want to steal? Why would you want to take something from someone when everything you need is in 15 minutes? Isn't it amazing? Well, if the future looks so wonderful, then why does Biden need to establish this week a permanent Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response Policy? Wow. Another alphabet has arrived in Washington, D.C. You got the CIA, the FBI, the CDC, the NSA. Now you got OPPR, OPPR, will oversee efforts to develop, manufacture, and procure the next generation of medical countermeasures, including leveraging emerging technologies and working with the HHS, or Health of Human Services. Is that right?
Health and Human Services.
On next generation wah-wah and treatments for wah-wah and other public health threats. So even though the COVID war is over, we somehow believe that we need to determine a national emergency to allow a creation of the office.
Permanent.
The permanent.
Let's just say permanent again.
Permanent.
So after he's gone out of office, this will still go on.
Still go on. Now there will be a building erected. There will be a director of the Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response Policy Team.
I need a handbook for all of these.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, that means there'll be a seal created, a podium. And when the next thing happens, you don't create, Sandy, a permanent Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response Team unless you are preparing for the next pandemic.
There you go.
Am I right?
Yep. And how many mouths have we heard this come out of? Well, this is nothing compared to what's coming. We need to prepare for the next pandemic.
Yep.
All these statements from all these different people.
And thankfully, the wah-wah is so safe that we have not seen any kind of health repercussions for people that took the wah-wah.
No.
Nothing whatsoever. Except for, we actually have. COVID vaccines show 24 times more adverse reactions than others. Let's just rapid fire hit this here and close the program. The latest report on adverse reactions in the wah-wah in Western Australia has revealed that COVID-19 wah-wah has 24 times the rate of adverse reactions compared to all other vaccines. According to the state's vaccine surveillance report, COVID-19 vaccines showed that for every 100,000 COVID-19 vaccines administered, 264 adverse events followed that were recorded. And if you'll see the chart there.
At 100,000, 264
per
adverse.
100,000. And it says for all vaccines, look, non-COVID-19 vaccines had an 11.1 rate of adverse reactions per 100,000, but the wah-wah per 100,000, 264. 11 versus 264. 11, I'm going to say it again, versus 264. Yeah. But here's the thing. Have you noticed how some pretty high-profile people have just collapsed, gone into heart attack? LeBron James's son,
Bronny, yeah,
who is, I believe, in high school and is about to go to college at USC tryouts. And here's the bottom line. He went into cardiac arrest.
That's what the article said.
That means he died. and was revived. A healthy high schooler, probably the most prolific basketball player in all of high school right now, certainly the most famous, son of LeBron James, collapses. Jamie Foxx goes, something happens to him. He's back now, supposedly, but not really discussing what happened to him. We have the famous singer that was on American Idol, Tori Kelly, I believe her name is something.
Tori Kelly.
Has been hospitalized.
I think that's right.
Been hospitalized with major blood clots
Just
throughout her
last
body.
week. Both of them were just last week, weren't they?
Just last week.
LeBron's son and her. I don't know how old she is.
But they figured out why, Sandy. They figured out why Australia, thank you. Thankfully, we've covered a lot of Australian things. JD, talking about your house. Thankful for Australia because they have figured out why people are having sudden cardiac arrest.
They've got the answer.
They finally figured it out.
It's a
And
eureka moment.
it's not what most of us are thinking. It's actually the flu. Australia's media is now saying that the rise in sudden cardiac arrest is because of the seasonal flu, and encourage the way that you can stop sudden cardiac arrest from happening is to get a flu shot.
So we figured it out, and we have the solution.
Yeah. Well, let's just listen to this.
That flu, I knew it was trouble, but
Yeah.
seriously?
All
Wow.
these years that the flu has been out there, it's amazing. I never heard them say that it could cause a heart attack.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that one.
Huh.
There's new evidence of a link between sudden cardiac arrest and influenza, prompting experts to reinforce the benefits of vaccination. The message is particularly important for those with underlying heart conditions.
When Hilary Williams felt chest pains earlier this year, he thought he was pushing himself too
By the way, side note, this dude's name is Hillary.
hard.
And we're
I thought,
okay with
maybe I'd
that.
done one too many push-ups and just my 53-year-old body just wasn't coping.
Minutes later, the
Perfect
warning
health.
signs became clear.
The pain just intensified and started to move down my left arm.
The Greystanes dad, with a passion for fitness
Active athlete.
and mountain biking, had two major blockages in his heart. Fortunately, he received timely
God.
treatment
Yes, I am
and was
thankful.
prescribed medications to protect his heart, including having a flu jab.
You know, I want to do now whatever.
His doctor told him, do the best you can to protect yourself from future heart attacks. The best thing you can do to protect yourself from future heart attacks, his doctor told him, is get a flu vaccine. But you ain't heard the latest. When you finally hear what his doctor says, that getting the jab for the flu, what it's the equivalent of, listen to this.
I can to kind of minimize the risk of having another one because, again, Professor Tan said that in the first 12 months, I'm at highest risk of having another one.
Is as good as reducing your cholesterol or stopping smoking.
It's as good as reducing cholesterol and stopping smoking. The flu vaccine. The flu vaccine will help your heart on the equivalent, Sandy. This doctor said, of reducing your cholesterol and stopping smoking.
In someone who's had a heart attack.
Pretty powerful.
Dr. Tan says there's a seasonal link between influenza and sudden cardiac arrest, especially among older Australians.
Using statistical modelling, we've been able to demonstrate that there is potentially a relationship between the two.
Studies have shown a peak in heart attacks and strokes during the winter months. Experts say it's not too late to be vaccinated. While there are encouraging signs the number of flu cases is easing, it makes up 60% of respiratory infections, outnumbering COVID and RSV. Gabriella Rogers, 9 News.
So there's still time. I love that closing line. There's still time to get the jab for the flu to keep you from having a heart attack. I'm so thankful that these sudden events that are happening, we figured out it's because of the flu, Sandy.
Yep.
Who knew?
But no worries. We know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Just come in for your vaccination.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we might go a little bit over 2 hours tonight because I've got to cover our AI stuff. The new CDC that's being nominated director from Biden, is a huge proponent of annual wah-wah. She has said that it needs to be a part of the annual flu shot, RSV shot, chickenpox shot, all the other shots, that now it's just going to be a common annual shot, and that is the one that is being nominated to lead the CDC.
Oh, boy.
Yep. But one other thing about Florida, because I don't know if it's just because the liberals don't like DeSantis or what. I don't know what it is. But how about this one? Central Florida is now the leprosy capital of the United States.
That's a new one. Haven't heard that one.
A long-suppressed, dreaded disease is now taking up permanent residence in the Southeast, with Florida emerging as this principal hotspot. Central Florida accounts for nearly a fifth of all cases in the United States of leprosy. Leprosy is still around?
Apparently.
All right, Sandy. I don't know about you, but I need Uncle Jimmy.
Come on.
That's all that can save us right now.
Oh, my
Uncle
goodness.
Jimmy!
Come on, Jimmy. Thank God.
Jimmy!
You know, you almost begin to wonder, between the climate chaos and the threat of nuclear war and the potential for the visitation, which one's going to happen first?
Yeah.
Which one is going to take us out first, right?
Is it going to be a bird that's got the flu? Is it going to be
Nuclear war.
nuclear war?
Are we going to go down fighting this green gospel fight, or are the aliens coming?
Wow. Well, look, Kevin, I'm proud of you, Kevin. 7 kids, they got 7 COVID shots, 3 boosters, all good. I can walk through walls now, feeling good. Oh, wait, suddenly not feeling so good.
Oh, God.
Kevin, you are funny, man. I'm telling you, we have the funniest live chat on YouTube. When we get through and we go back and read some of y'all's comments, especially Jesus Freak, if you're still on here, Jesus Freak, you literally have us rolling sometimes.
And JD.
And JD. Y'all,
It's a race between him and JD.
y'all are just awesome. We love reading the live chat. So let's just cover a few of these real rapid fire here, Sandy. Let's see, we'll throw this up here. Fragmented truth, how AI is distorting and challenging our reality. You think? AI's first ever released ChatGPT, when they first released it, it seemed to me like an oracle trained on vast swaths of data loosely representing the sum of human interest and knowledge available online. This has changed big time.
Yes.
So right now, the AI guardrail's in place, but not everyone approves. And we're seeing strikes in Hollywood. We're seeing all kinds of people are saying, hey, we got to do something. If we don't do something, we're in trouble. Here's another thing about AI. AI is on a collision course with white-collar, high-paid jobs with unknown impact. About 1 in 5 American workers have a job with high exposure to artificial intelligence, according to Pew Research. Technology has led some to lose out in the past, largely when their job is substituted by automation.
Yep. Thanks for the memories, but here's your pink slip. We don't need you anymore.
Exactly. So we're just going through these rapid fire, but this is the one I want to get to, this next one. AI does not stand for actual intimacy. It's pretty alarming here what this one is about. The cure for our current epidemic of loneliness and isolation lies not in futuristic technology, but in ancient wisdom. This is sort of an opinion piece on where we're going with artificial intelligence. He says, over the past several months, Americans have been treated to article after article detailing the benefits and dangers of artificial intelligence, from writing term papers to dispensing legal and medical advice to possibly causing human extinction. AI has the potential to revolutionize how we think and interact with the world around us. The revolution will not stop with how human beings relate to machines, but goes on to talk about how in the early stages, Google and all these others just willingly gave your information over to this AI chat box. But now, watch what it says here. All of that information together has created a virtual reality to where now AI-powered robots will initiate, quote, a redesign of love and relationships. We're seeing that happen right now. In essence, the prediction is the rise of the sex bot. An artificial sexual partner, I'm just going to read it, that will eliminate the quite messy issues that plague human interaction. In other words, relationships, responsibility, accountability, faithfulness, all of that. So here's where things are going quickly, Sandy. We started out talking, when we started out the AI intro, we started talking about AI, we were talking about jobs, we were talking about, sort of being funny about Terminator and all this. One thing that is quickly accelerated, because what happened when the internet first became a thing? Internet was this cool invention. You could communicate with people, reconnect with people that you were in school with. But which industry came in and immediately capitalized on it and became the richest industry in the world on the internet?
Oh, boy.
That was XXX, what we used to call it, XXX, but now it's called barn. Barn. Because that word will get you flagged too. So my word is barn. And y'all have to figure out what that is. I got the wang, I got barn.
It's another 4-letter word.
It's like all I'm doing, Google, is it's the sound of a horn. Barn, barn, barn. Okay. So the barn industry is leading the way with AI. They are funding it. They're pouring more money into AI than any other industry. The barn industry. Because they realize these sickos that are trying to relive or trying to live a life that they would never be able to live themselves want to be able to have a robot and all that kind of stuff with the AI technology that is teaching themselves how to communicate, mimic voices. I'm not trying to get too deep into this, but there are organizations that are using the voice mimicking technology where you can literally, I don't even know how to say this. It's a family show. Buy a virgin. I didn't mean to say virgin.
You were doing pretty good.
I was saying version. Version. Oh my God, that was living in for me.
Okay.
I'm tired. A version of Angelina Jolie. I was just trying to think of an actress that you can buy a version of them and think that you have a version of them. Version. Help me, Sandy. Help me. Help me, Sandy.
Let me find a shovel.
Help me, Sandy.
See if I got a shovel over there in the corner
Sandy.
anywhere. Okay.
Let's wrap this thing up.
Please.
We're 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Please.
And if we're going to wrap it up, let's wrap it up with our friend.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, Noval Harari.
Yuval. Noah Harari for the 100th time.
Somebody said, I need 10 Hail Marys now. Yes. Yuval Harari's Klaus Schwab's right-hand man is coming to our rescue. He is calling for all conspiracy theorists to be banned from the internet because of their, quote, dangerous belief that a global clique of elites control the world.
Oh, my goodness.
He
really said that.
Is this not calling, what do they say about the pot calling the kettle black or something? The kettle calling the pot black or something? I need to go back and read a dictionary, encyclopedia or something. Get up. Harari condemned the theory that a shadowy elite of billionaires and globalists control the world. Which, by the way, it's not anti-Semitic. It's not dangerous.
Right.
It is fact. So our friend Noah Harari is talking about us, I think. Because he says during an appearance on Lex Friedman's podcast.
I watched a little bit of that.
That thing was like 2 hours long, wasn't it? 2.5 hours long.
It was very long. I didn't get that far into it, but I wanted to try to watch that. Yeah.
He says, during the Lex Friedman podcast that you can search for and watch yourself, Harari noted that the world is too complex to be controlled by powerful people. Really? Too complex. Oh, you talking about your daddy? Eat the bugs, your daddy? According to conspiracy theorists, there is a small group of people, the cabal, who secretly control everything that happens in the world. All wars, all revolutions, all epidemics, everything that's happened is controlled by this very small group of people who are, of course, evil and have bad intentions. This is a very well-known story. It's not new. It's very appealing because, first of all, it's simple, and you don't have to understand everything that's going on in the world. You just have to understand one thing: the war in Ukraine, Israeli-Palestinian conflict, 5G technology, COVID-19. It's simple. There is this global cabal. They're doing all these things, Harari said. He warned that these crises are often blamed on the Jews or Freemasons. If we just get rid of this little group, we will solve all the problems of the world. Salvation, it's simple, it's attractive, and that's why so many people believe in it. Harari then compared belief in the cabal to Nazism. He argues that the Nazis also believed that a clique was trying to control the world. The basic idea of the Nazis was that the Jews controlled the world. Get rid of the Jews, you solve all the world's problems. During discussion at the Warwick Economic Summit, Harari boasted that the world's, quote, elites would soon be able to use their immense power to avoid global mass extinction, which they themselves would create as part of a depopulation. Is this not...
This is so interesting.
Is this not predictive programming type thing where you've got the architect of the cabal, of how to carry out the cabal, saying there's no such thing as a cabal?
It's kind of like an upside down sort of thing. He's basically refuting everything that we talk about and saying that we're just a bunch of conspiracy theorists for presenting this and saying these things, which I think he's just laughing uncontrollably while he's saying this, because that's exactly what he believes, because he's part of it.
He's part of it. Not only is he part of it, he's like he's the enforcer. He's the idea generator.
The right-hand man, the aide, the assistant to Klaus Schwab.
Now, we haven't reminded you of this, but every Thursday night, including this coming Thursday night, will be Paul Begley at 7 p.m. Central Time. Every Thursday night is the Kingdom Intelligence Report.
Oh, I hope you two can find something to talk about.
Oh, I'm sure we will. Everybody loves it when we get together. But Pastor Paul Begley will be sharing information just before he goes live on his show with Mike from around the world. And that'll be this Thursday night at 7 o'clock.
That is going to be awesome.
And then the next week, the second week, is Ricky Scapero from End Time Headlines. The third is Stan Deo, Living Legend.
Yes.
And finally, beginning this month, Pastor Mark Carrell, one of the greatest connected to end time prophecy in the news people in the world.
We have been waiting for this.
It is going to be phenomenal.
Yes.
And if you don't follow us on Rumble, do it now. Go to rumble.com/Larry Ragland. They're watching us live on Rumble right now. You can follow us there. That's going to make sure that we have a place to go to if we don't survive here. And then every Wednesday night we have a Bible study. The book of Revelation, verse by verse, is what I just completed. And we need to get an updated slide, but I forgot to update that, sorry. But I just completed that. You can watch the entire series at the book of Revelation.tv.
It's all good. Just be here Wednesday night.
Just be here Wednesday night, and I'm going to cover Bible study. We always have Bible study live. And I want to throw this live chat up here because I like to see what's going on. Are you serious? Yes, I am. Can't wait. Paul Begley, the country singer. That's right.
That's him.
That's him. Yes, that's just a tremendous lineup. And then last but certainly not least, Sandy, we very quickly, let's talk about what just happened.
Yes.
We had a phenomenal time up in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Noblesville, to be exact.
Noblesville, suburb of Indianapolis. We taped 13 shows. And I believe, I say this humbly, I believe they turned out phenomenal. I'm very excited about this television program. We recorded 4 shows together.
Yes, we did.
I did 7 shows by myself, and then we did, or 6 shows by myself. And then we did another 3 shows that are preaching messages. And our producer said he's been in this industry for 20 plus 30 years, something like that. I don't know, he's maybe close to 30 years he's been in this industry. And he said he felt like for first timers it was, and I say this humbly, but one of the best he'd ever seen. He said it was anointed, it was powerful, it's going to change people's lives. And thank you to all the people that made a way for us to be up there. And if you'd like to be a partner with us, we really are believing that this was going to be something that's going to touch millions of lives, going to help us build this channel as well. We really pushed our YouTube family, and we're going to really push it there. It's going to help us build what we're doing here. Because I loved Christian television, but this is our family right here. Yes. You are our family. And we want to bring some more people into this family. So here's how you can do it. Help us share this YouTube channel. Share it. Invite people to join us. Be here with us every Monday night and all the other things that we got going on. Tell them, hey, you want to know what's going on in the world? Come to the big picture. And then partner with us. Maybe sow a one-time gift, or maybe go ahead and commit monthly to be a part of our television ministry. And you can do that. We need significant partners because it's going to be basically $23,000 every 3 months for new programs. That's minimum. That's with no other channels than we're on right now. But these are professional shows that not only will you be helping us put on these 2 channels that we're on live on the channels, but we'll also show those programs right here on the big picture, professionally done. You'll be able to see them on the Roku channels and all that. So if you can click that give button to help us, we appreciate it. If you want to send a check, make it out to Larry Ragland Ministries, send it to the address that's on your screen. P.O. Box 9489, Birmingham, Alabama 35220. Many of you have already done that. We appreciate it so much.
Yes, we do.
So thank you for those that have bought our book.
Yes.
If you have not already ordered your copy of your book, it still says pre-order, but I want to fix that too. But if you go to LarryRagland.com or .tv, or you can search on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. I See Greatness in You. Buy the book. It's the story of our life. We appreciate everybody that has bought the book, given us a review, and let us know what the book means. Closing thoughts, Sandy, as we close another Big Picture Live.
Well, it's been a fast-paced and crazy night once again. Every week, I think this is the craziest it's ever been. It continues to get crazier. But we know that our God is on the throne, and He's going to take care of us, so we've just got to trust in Him.
Yes. In fact, I don't usually do this all the time on Monday nights, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to pray for you. Father, in the name of Jesus right now, everybody that's watching right now, we pray, God, that you would encourage them, give them strength, settle their minds. Don't let them operate in the spirit of fear. Give them peace that passes all understanding that only comes from you. And God, help us, God, and touch me and Sandy, God, as we continue to be on this show, doing everything we can do to be a voice, to wake people up, to show them the big picture, that you are coming soon and that we need to be right with God. And all these news items are just telling us the end is coming. Yeah. The new phase of the next world, the next age, after the church is raptured and we're with you, is coming. So help us to be ready. And if you don't know Jesus Christ as your Savior, then call out on Him right now. Yes. Ask Him to come into your heart and be born again. And if you prayed that prayer, let us know. Amen?
Amen.
All right, we love you guys from the bottom of our heart. Go to ISeeGreatnessInYou.com or LarryRagland.com. Either one will take you to that book. And then if you want to be a partner, go to LarryRagland.com. Let us know that you would like to partner with us as we reach the world. We love you. We appreciate you for being with us for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Whoa.
What in the world?
Is that a record?
That's a record.
A new record.
Don't y'all get any ideas? We're not doing 3 hours. I'm barely sitting up right now as it is. God bless you. We want to remind you, we ain't woke.
No.
But we are certainly awake. And by the way, get your merchandise there too.
Yep.
Get your merchandise.
Get the gear.
We got greatness merchandise, and we got not woken, awake. Oh, God, help me, Jesus. Bye, y'all.
Good night.